Okay, we are going to get started. And I just want to thank everybody for being with us here this morning for our Pella Leadership Panel for Women's History Month at Murray State. So I am Abigail Cox. I'm the coordinator of the Women's Center at Murray State. And then I have Matt Purdy on with me this morning from Career Services. Matt, you want to say hello and just a bit about why Career Services wanted to be a part of this event with us?
Absolutely. Well, it's great to be here on this beautiful Friday morning. Career Services, we're dedicated to all aspects of career development for Murray State students and alums. And we're really excited to be involved in this particular event. Diversity in the workplace, gender diversity in the workplace is so critical to success. It helps with different perspectives, being able to collaborate in different environments, can also help employers with recruitment and retention of employees, and it also leads, believe it or not, to greater profitability as well. One of the latest studies shows that the most gender diverse companies are 21% more likely to achieve above average profitability. And so, like I said, we're really excited to be here. Equality and inclusiveness is a major cornerstone for career services, and we're happy to be involved in the conversation today.
Awesome. Thank you, Matt.
Thank
And
you.
I just want to take just a second to introduce our panel. So we have Greg Wyatt, who is the plant manager for assembly, final assembly at Pella. And then we have Christian Cox, who is a production manager for third shift parts making. And we have Sasha Grogan, HR operations manager, and Reagan Melton, HR intern. And I don't know if Reagan knew this fully going in, but she is kind of the reason for us all being here and the star of the show because her experience getting this internship and her experience with Pella is kind of what inspired this conversation. So, Reagan, would you mind to kind of let everybody know how you landed in this opportunity?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for that introduction. So it was all by chance. I had a chance meeting with Sasha, the HR manager, at a previous job that I was working at. And we got on the topic of HR very quickly, and she was asking me why I wanted to major in that. And then we ended up getting on LinkedIn together. And then down the road, I saw where she posted that she had gotten the job here at Pella. So I messaged her and congratulated her. And then she messaged me a little bit while longer, telling me about the opportunity here. So it all happened just by chance and on LinkedIn.
Yeah, so that's an incredible opportunity, obviously. And it reminds me of something, Matt, you have that display out in the hallway that talks about how, 85% of positions are never even posted. They're through these chance types of meetings and these sort of informal types of connections. And so I'm sure that, you all sort of preach the importance of those types of networking opportunities all the time to our students.
We absolutely do. And in fact, on Monday at 2 o'clock, we have a networking event. It's held through Zoom, but we have employers involved in that as well. And so, anybody's on the call watching this and they're interested, you can get more details on Handshake or at murraystate.edu/career.
Yeah. And so, Reagan, you and Sasha obviously had a instant connection. She was obviously impressed with sort of how you presented yourself. And when we were talking about this panel, you said something that just really stuck out to me that I've thought about several times since then. You said that every interaction is like an interview. And that certainly, played out in this. So can you kind of share with our students what you meant by that when you said that?
Sure. So I think as a college student, especially, it can be hard to find those opportunities to get your foot in the door. In internships, especially in Murray, if you're wanting to stay local while you're doing it in school. So the whole experience has taught me that every interaction is an interview. And I've always been told that, but it just came true. So just through Sasha and I having a chance meeting, and I think utilizing your LinkedIn as more than just applying to however many jobs, but also using it as to make conversation. If you see a product or a new innovation that you think is cool, message that person and have a conversation with them before you actually need something, before you need a job. It's about reaching out to those people and making those connections in person or online. So.
For sure. And Sasha, you have an interesting story of how you landed in Murray as well via Texas. So how did you end up in Murray, Kentucky?
So Pella reached out to me for the opportunity to come to Murray, and I had never been to Kentucky before. And what sold me on Pella was just the opportunities and, speaking specifically about diversity in women and right skill set. And that's something that Pella mentioned to me and we spoke often of, is just we're looking for the right skill set. It never came up about who I was, where I was from. It was, what do I bring to the table? What value do I add? And then just how Pella leverages talent throughout the organization is exciting. The fact that you get to learn diverse things. If you have interest in HR, you can go to project management, you can go to HR, you can go into operations, and just not really putting people in a box. And that open way of thinking and then leveraging talent and that cross-functional exposure really attracted me to Pella, and that's what brought me here. It's just the opportunity to develop others, but to also develop myself. And that spoke volumes to me. So here I am in Murray, Kentucky.
And we're so glad you're here. The first question that I had kind of sent you that I wanted to ask you just want you to talk a little bit about why diverse and representative leadership is a benefit to a company like Pella.
I would definitely think that talent is definitely a focus for Pella. And when you have a diverse workforce that brings in different life experiences, different professional experiences, it just makes for the whole brain, that full perspective of thinking. And Pella does that really well. They do want people to problem solve, and they want to give them the autonomy to make decisions, and they want to empower them to bring their unique perspectives to work. And we've definitely found that as a talent advantage for Pella. Specifically speaking, for women at Pella, a third of our team members are women, across not just HR, right, where typically people expect HR, but department managers, plant managers. Christian's our production manager on third shift, right? Reagan's an HR intern. So that's one of the things that I'm very proud of for Pella, is that a third of our team members are women across the organization, and the leadership team too, in the executive ranks. And then to the manufacturing floor. So it's more about skill set and talent than anything else with Pella. And again, it's something that I think that we've used to really build that quality in our brand.
Thank you. And that kind of leads me into my first question for Greg. Obviously Pella really values just really, the diversity and the inclusion, but also just people as a whole, the whole person, and just their skill sets and what they bring to the table. Greg, do you feel like there might be misconceptions or stereotypes that prevent women from pursuing those opportunities to begin with, in manufacturing in general and at Pella? Oh.
How's that?
There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, Abigail, I was saying, I think the manufacturing industry as a whole, it's still evolving from being a male-dominated space. And certainly I can understand that that'd be intimidating for women to enter that workforce, changing that industry perception. So what we realize at Pella is we would not be where we are today without the contributions of the women who've helped shape this organization and help move it forward. And certainly as more events like this, they shine that light on women in manufacturing and the opportunities that manufacturing presents for women. We hope that more women will feel that encouragement and that welcomeness to join that space and utilize their talents and their perspectives on the industry. So it's important that women are celebrated for their work. Certainly, again, as I said earlier, there's many things that we look back on in the history of Pella, and we're here today. We're where we are today because of the women that made their contributions to Pella. So not only it's the right thing to do, but really the future of manufacturing depends upon women coming into our industry in a greater manner and really helping us move this industry forward.
Thank you. And we really appreciate you guys helping us to shine a light on this particular industry today. And so, Reagan, I kind of wanted to bring you in here and just ask, how do you think students, especially women, benefit from seeing opportunities like this where we're talking about maybe some male-dominated fields, but seeing women who are in those roles and leading, and how important is it that we have those opportunities for students to see that?
Yeah, I think it's extremely important to use your platform to show these opportunities, because for women, I think it should come as a challenge. Like, how far can we go? If we see that other people are doing it, how far can we go? How quickly can we get there? And what work do we need to put in to get there? So I think it's important to broadcast that to students, because normally when you think of manufacturing, you don't think of a woman in charge or a woman taking that leap of faith. But I think it just comes down to, if she can do it, then so can I. So.
Absolutely. Thank you. And so, Sasha, I want to kind of swing back to you here. Once we get people in the door, once we get women in the door, we want to retain them, right? And that's something we talk about here at Murray State all the time. We want to get people in the door, but we also want to keep them here. And part of that is certainly the culture and the environment that we create for them once they arrive. So could you tell us a little bit about the strategies that Pella uses to create an environment where people not only want to come, but where they want to stay?
Okay, well, I will start off with a personal experience for me. Within my first month at Pella, the managers took me to lunch. Jenny Payton, Carla Hudson, they surrounded me with support. They grabbed me and said, hey, we're gonna get you up to speed pretty quickly. And so I think we have a culture that when someone comes on board, we surround them with care, and we surround them with, hey, here's where this is at. That was happening in my first week or two within Pella. Is the women managers took me to lunch, and Los Portales, what a good choice, right? So we just had an opportunity to talk and network and go over some best practices and things that are good to know. But I found that the men were equally supportive here. So I think with Pella, our thing is we care about talent, and we care about the willingness and the eagerness to learn more than anything else. And I think that's the platform that we build on with Pella that makes us so competitive. I also think that we have opportunities to continuously improve. So we're always seeking feedback on what are we doing great, what do we need to continue doing, what do we need to stop doing, and what should we start doing? Those conversations happen all the time. And then going back to our plant managers here, Greg Wyatt, Nate Forsyth, even our associate director, Brent Shelberg, they make sure that we have a seat at the table. Whether you're a team member or the HR manager, there's no difference. We're one team and we have common goals. So how do we gear up our individual teams to help the collective goal? And I think that's the focus. And when the focus is on the goal, everyone's included because everyone's a part of that success. So I definitely think that having all those support services and everyone sharing their success helps Pella be successful. And that's what Pella does well.
So speaking of retaining people, you certainly retained
Yeah.
Christian, right? And so as Christian, as an alumni of Murray State, you've been at Pella for a while now. So can you kind of tell us where you started out, where you're at now, and just what about your experiences in college helped prepare you for sort of what you've accomplished already at Pella?
Yeah, great questions there. So at Murray State, I was a student athlete, so I definitely enjoy being in a team environment and working in manufacturing and operations. You're in a team environment and also a very competitive environment, and that definitely is where I thrive. I like that structure. So by being a student athlete at Murray State, I had a lot of opportunities to not only be on a team, but demonstrate leadership. It gave me a good platform for that. But on the academic side, I had a lot of good opportunities as well. I had great professors, a great advisor that I think early on saw that I had the ability to be some type of leader. And my last year at Murray State, I was actually asked to be a student ambassador, which allowed me to be with a different group other than athletes and still get to bring something to the table in the form of leadership. So I had a lot of opportunities at Murray State that helped me with my career at Pella and sort of gravitating me towards manufacturing.
Awesome. So Reagan, as a student now, and also being in this, workplace and sort of experiencing some of these opportunities early on, what do you feel like you gained through college and in preparing you for those opportunities? But also, what do you feel like maybe you were surprised by or didn't expect going into the work environment?
Right. So there's a difference in environment, obviously. So when I'm in the classroom, it's prepared me as far as terms, knowing how to strategize, the management side, and just real base knowledge that you need and to go into that specific field, in my case, human resources. So I know terms, I know leave practices, but when I came into the workforce here at Pella, from day one, I was learning processes. So everything definition wise, I was now putting into play. So that's a lot different from just sitting in the classroom and looking at examples. I was doing it myself and being taught how we do this, why we do this, and not just getting tested over it, but actually implementing it. So there's a big difference between that, but I couldn't have done one without the other.
So I know, Christian and Reagan, both of you, you were students here at Murray State. You had experiences that, prepared you and provided you with these opportunities, right? So what would you say to current students, like if you were to give them sort of a, don't take this for granted or don't overlook this while you're in college type of advice, what would that be? Reagan, you can go first if you want.
Okay. I would definitely say getting involved and getting out of your comfort zone. I joined a Greek organization. I took leadership roles within that I was actually risk manager and just having a platform to be a, I guess, leader or role model, someone that someone looks up to. It's a lot different than sitting in the crowd. So it pushes you out of your comfort zone. So then when I'm talking to people at my job where I met Sasha, I was comfortable enough to start having that conversation with her. So pushing yourself and getting in those organizations, whether it's Greek Life or student ambassador or giving tours on campus, it's having the repetitiveness of having open conversations, no matter where you start them or end them, just being able to communicate.
Wow, really great answer. Hard to follow up on, right? Just to sort of piggyback off what she said, definitely getting out of your comfort zone will help you a ton in the work environment. I know that it certainly helped me with my career at Pella, but I was a little bit different than Reagan in college. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I think trying to identify your strengths, I had lots of different ideas of what I thought I wanted to do. And as I progressed academically at Murray State, I really found myself at the end of my academic career not really knowing what I wanted to do and what path I wanted to follow. And it just so happened that my first job out of college, I sort of jumped into it, and they had some opportunities with management. I never really thought about being a manager or leader. I knew that it was a strength, but I just went in at my first job right out of college, just sort of at the bottom, and noticed that there were some opportunities to be a leader, and jumped on those opportunities, and then it eventually led me to Pella. So I got lucky in that way. And I really do wish whenever I was in college that I had reflected more on what my strengths were, because that's really what ultimately led to my career at Pella and what I'm doing now. So that would be my advice as a Murray State student. If you're struggling figuring out what do I want to do after college, or I'm in a major where I'm not really seeing myself going into a career in this, but I'm at the end, just really reflect on what your strengths are, and that can lead to some different avenues and windows later on in your career.
And I can kind of sense here a Matt Purdy soundbite, because I just feel like so much of what career services tries to do for our students is to help them identify strengths, right? Matt, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. And this is something that we do pretty much on a daily basis, helping students discover their strengths, or at least recognize their strengths and opportunities where they can put those to practice, and obviously hone and develop those. And so that's it's very, very common, especially when it's time for registration. Students are starting to pick classes and wanting to stay in their major, or perhaps switch out to a different major. And yeah, it's a major component of what we do. And I also always appreciate employers who host interns as well, to help further either confirm or help students decide maybe one path is maybe not right for them. And it's so much easier to have those conversations when somebody is in school versus after they graduate. But it's a very common situation, as Christian pointed out, of like getting to the end of college and not knowing, okay, well, what do I do now? And so we're always happy to help out with those situations.
Absolutely. And I know our students definitely appreciate that. So Greg, I wanted to ask you, just as a follow-up, what advice do you have for women, but also just for students in general who might be looking at starting a career in manufacturing? I know you have lots of experience hiring and in different environments, and just seeing what it takes to be successful in those environments. So what advice would you give to those that are listening today?
Yeah, Abigail, I think I'm gonna lean on some of Christian's comments and then Matt's follow-up to Christian's comments. And the way I would just kind of close that gap, if you will, or take that conversation to one more level. And Matt, you talked about an event that I think coming up next week. I would encourage students to seek out individuals. I've had the opportunity to be mentored by many, many people. And through those mentorship relationships, I've found tremendous value in just helping me wrestle with and think through what is the right path for me. And I think it's especially ladies, but anyone looking at entering the workforce, whether it be in manufacturing, in any field, having that opportunity to build those relationships with others, get some insights and some perspectives of the job, of the occupation, and what it really means, and how to be successful in that particular role. It just can be invaluable to being able to take that next step and really be successful in that role. So I would just encourage, we heard Reagan's story a little bit about being willing to initiate a conversation and build a relationship that can lead to really someone helping you get to where you want to be. And I think from my perspective, in manufacturing or in leadership, we all have a responsibility to replace ourselves. And that means we have to be actively looking for and identifying those individuals that have got the talent and the ability to do what we do. And we've got a responsibility then to invest in them and help them get to where they want to be. So I think for students, for others, again, in that situation, reach out because there's people that have been where you're at, and they will be glad to come along beside you and help you get to where you want to be.
That's some awesome advice right there. So I'm just going to kind of build on that. I know, we've heard a little bit about how Sasha has invested in Reagan and just invested in her learning and developing and growing. But Christian, I know that there are probably people who have done exactly what Greg just said at your time during Pella, who have invested in you and your development through, Pella and in your career. Can you share with us a little bit about what that's looked like for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Greg being one of those mentors. But throughout my career at Pella, I've had a ton of people willing to invest and mentor. We have a great leadership group who have always made me feel welcome and comfortable, and done a great job of identifying my strengths and weaknesses and being willing to have those crucial conversations of this is where you're at and this is what you need to work on. And then also talking a lot about, your strengths and how to strengthen them even further. But at Pella, the great thing, the thing that I love that gets me really pumped up and passionate about working at Pella is the opportunities are endless. And if you're willing to work for them, put forth the effort, willing to work on sharpening your skills, there's nothing that's going to hold you back from getting your goals accomplished. So I've had a lot of great mentors and bosses during my time at Pella that have been willing to sit down and have crucial conversations and then put it into action. Not just sit there and talk and work on a development plan, but actually go out to the floor and invest in what it takes to accomplish your goals and put them into an actual action. So my experience with our mentorship program and all the development and trainings that we do, that's the best part of it, is it's not just a training, you actually put it into action, and you're influencing people in different groups at your workplace. And it's a really great thing to see.
And Sasha, I know one of the goals for you in this was just to sort of building on what Christian said, let people know that the opportunities are endless, right? That there are so many opportunities at Pella that people may not have considered. And one of your, goals was to let people know about that. So do you mind just to talk a little bit about like what the different opportunities look like just outside of what we've heard today?
Sure, and I'm also going to probably tag Greg in this conversation as a plant leader, one of the plant leaders for this location. So we have various roles. When people look at Pella, they think of our operators. They think that there's some kind of HR payroll person, but they don't think of all the opportunities. There's engineering. We have a very strong engineering team, and our maintenance team are amazing. So Pella is a company of innovation. People don't think of innovation when they think of windows and doors, but it takes innovators to do those things. So we have operator roles, we have HR roles, we have planners, buyers, we have production managers. There's a team of support services that keep this plant going as well. So there's quality. Currently, we are looking for operator roles, but throughout we do a lot of our promotion internally. And that's one thing else I would like to add, is that we had over 93 internal promotions just at the Murray site. Mm-hmm. That's just Murray. That doesn't include the Pella family across our multiple manufacturing sites and other things. So when you talk about opportunities and growth, Pella is definitely a contender, and we're looking to growth. We have a very competitive growth strategy, and I would definitely say that our talent has been one of the reasons that we've been successful through COVID. While others are not hiring at this point or not able to, Pella's continue to see growth even through COVID. So definitely, if you're looking for opportunities and you're looking to explore career options, I would definitely look up jobs at Pella for various interests. So it's not just operators, it's not just HR. There's plant leadership. There's a plethora of opportunities here at Pella, and then definitely opportunities. Reagan is a prime example of that. So just let us know, and we're glad to partner with MSU. A lot of our managers and team members are MSU graduates, so we're going to lean heavily on MSU and definitely look to partner more with MSU as we look to employ and keep people local in Murray as well. We really want to retain that talent from Murray.
Greg, did you want to add anything there?
No, I'd certainly echo a lot of Sasha's comments. There's tremendous opportunities. Pella is a growing company, and while we have many, many opportunities in Murray, Kentucky, throughout the country, there are opportunities with Pella. So I'd certainly encourage anyone interested in pursuing an occupation in manufacturing, reach out to us, let us help you build those connections and talk about the opportunities. Sometimes it goes beyond, as Matt said, sometimes it goes beyond just the jobs that are posted. Sometimes there's things that we know are coming or sites that we're going to be opening that we can have a conversation with individuals about to give them some insights and where we're headed and those opportunities that may not be available just yet, but we know are coming.
That's awesome. And I know, for a lot of our students, we have a good mixture of students who are looking to stay in the area versus students who want to pursue opportunities in other places. So it's really great to hear and to know that Pella offers both of those opportunities, regardless of sort of where your life is taking you. So I just wanted to give each of you, before we open up for some questions, just give each of you the opportunity to add anything that you might like to, just in terms of, either advice for students or just, a takeaway for those who may be looking at a career in manufacturing. Sasha, you want to start? You have anything to add?
Just don't be afraid. If you're interested, reach out. It took one conversation with Reagan to say, she's really passionate about this. And when I had an opportunity and we needed some assistance, I reached out to her. So, just to mirror everyone's comments, reach out. Networking is important. I would say probably 9 out of 10 of my jobs that I've ever gotten was through a referral. Not because I applied for it. Someone I knew or someone that knew of my work ethic, recommended me for the role. So don't be afraid. Reach out and start planning.
How about you, Reagan? You got anything to add there?
I would just say don't cross it out, because I never thought that I would be working in manufacturing. So, and the fact that I'm now here and I'm working in this environment, I don't really know that I could ever go back to a quieter environment. The challenges that it gives you, the people you'll meet, you're around a lot of people. You're not just in an office setting. We go out on the floor, we talk to people. So I don't really know that I'd ever want to be in a different environment. So, and I never thought I'd be in this environment. So just don't cross it out. Don't knock it till you try it. You may actually find out that you love it. So.
Christian, you have anything to add to their comments?
Yeah, I think that we're all on the same page. Just don't be scared to be uncomfortable, because you may find that it's the best thing that's ever happened to you. Somebody told me that whenever I was very young, and it's definitely rang true throughout my whole life, to not let being uncomfortable hold you back from anything. So a career in manufacturing, if you like a fast-paced environment, something where you're definitely not sitting in your office watching the clock go by. That has never happened to me one time in my 6 years at Pella. If anything, I'm looking at it thinking I don't have enough time. So if that's something that sounds like you, manufacturing might be where you need to land, because it's fast-paced, competitive, and there's definitely never a dull moment, at least in my experience.
And Greg, anything you want to add to their comments?
Yeah, just to wrap up our conversation, specifically to women and their thinking about career choices, I would just encourage them not to let perceptions limit their options. Be willing to broaden your view of viable career options, because there's a lot of value as a woman that you can bring to Pella or any other manufacturing in operation or industry. So I'd encourage you to just not be limited by those perceptions or by those norms that we traditionally see.
Thank you. I know all of your comments are so appreciated by our students that are listening. And so we do want to give them the opportunity to ask any questions that they might have. So if you do have a question, you can unmute, and we'll give a few minutes for you all to do that and to connect with our panelists. And also any of our career services people who have joined us and are learning a lot about probably an organization that they've connected with in other ways.
Well, Abigail, if you insist, I can say a few things. I'm Hannah Carroll in Career Services. Here, I'll go ahead and be brave. I'll put my camera on. I'm not probably dressed, but I have the outdoors with me today, so that's nice.
Oh, she's outside. She's smart. Good move, Hannah.
You allowed this, Matt.
It's beautiful. I'm jealous.
It is outside. It is a gorgeous day. But I'm very inspired right now. I'm very proud of these students, past students. I want your email addresses so that we can do a spotlight on you all, because you definitely deserve that privilege, and we really want to promote this for you all. So we're excited about that. And you guys stole my big question in the beginning. Greg and Sasha both talked about, this mentoring experience, and that one person usually stands out to me. I had a mentor, if anybody knew, Dr. Coel, while she was here. She was my mentor. I loved her. And now I've been able to be a mentor myself. So, gosh, that's huge. Grab onto that person, learn everything you can from them, and then reach back out to them in the future. Even if you think, oh, I've left Murray State, what have you. I think that's brilliant. But something I really like to tell students, because I actually worked in manufacturing for a few months out of college too, never expected that to happen. And I probably learned a year's worth of experience in that 3 months that I worked there. And I think that I like to tell students that the journey is so important, that it's not going to be this straight to the top. If it does happen, let me know, because that's amazing. But it's going to bob and weave, and it's going to have all of these valleys and peaks. But it's so important to look back at that journey and say, that's why that happened. That's why we did that. That's why I had to go through that valley. So I want to know from the panel, what's your aha moment along your journey? And some of you may have a shorter journey. Some of you may have a longer journey where you sat there and you were proud. It was that final moment of or that first moment of wow, I've actually made it and actually have some knowledge to share to the group. What's that moment for you all? Did you ever have that aha moment along the way?
Let's start with Greg, because I feel like he has something to say here.
I was just thinking, I'm still waiting for my aha moment. I've never had it. I've heard people that have had, but I'm still waiting for mine. So I'm going to have to defer to Sasha and Christian and Reagan for a better example here.
That's awesome.
Greg might be one of the most humble people I've ever met, by the way. So that was a very fitting answer.
I think that with Greg and I, we're still on our path. Definitely hoping our path doesn't end here, of course. So I don't say I have an aha moment, but I do have learning experiences. And what I've learned is to keep learning. Don't stop learning. If you make a mistake, learn from the mistake. Pella has a status that says fail fast. And they say that because they want you to try different things and learn different things. And through that, you'll learn to grow. And that's something that I've had in all of my roles, is continuing to grow. And then using your resources. I don't pretend to know everything about manufacturing, but I know who to go to if I have a question. So leveraging your support base and leveraging the experts in the area. You don't have to know everything. You don't have to have it figured out. But know who your resources are, who can help you figure it out. And that's one thing that I'll say I've learned, and that will help you continue to grow, is building that network and using your resources.
Reagan or Christian, any aha moments for you?
I'll sort of piggyback off what they've both said. One of the great things about working at Pella is we do have a great focus on continuous improvement. So while I've not really had that aha moment, I have had lots of moments and lots of opportunities where I've been given the opportunity to have a platform in front of my peers or a particular group where I've got to, talk about the knowledge or the great experiences that I've had at Pella. So if you find yourself in a job where you're not getting opportunities like that, I would really challenge you to think about other opportunities, because at Pella, I've been given so many opportunities to be in front of groups, to influence people, and then to also be influenced by others. And that's a great feeling to know that you're given the opportunity to continue to grow in your career, even if you're in the same job for a while. Just always this feeling of there's more, that there's something more that we can be doing and improving on, really gives us an edge, I think.
Yeah, just to go off of that, I think I'm still on my journey. I got a long way to go. But I am just continuously looking for opportunities, but I celebrate my victories as well. I've been with Pella for about 8 months, and when someone asks me just a simple question or question about a leave or who to contact, I just celebrate that I know the answer to it, that I'm learning, and that I can help somebody out. So just still on my journey though.
That's awesome. Definitely important to celebrate the moments that remind us why we are doing what we're doing. So do any of our other participants have a question for our panelists?
I don't know if it's a question so much, but one to follow up on all the advice, all the excellent advice. I always like telling students, you regret the things you don't do. And so if you're on the fence, just do it. Get out of your comfort zone. As we've discussed already several times. It's super valuable. That's how you grow. Like Hannah, I was also in manufacturing as well before I came back from my degrees. And I was in it for about 6 years. And this is kind of more of, I guess, a superficial type of thing. But to this day, I still get tickled whenever, if I get to tour a plant or something like that, and to see the finished product, but knowing what the raw materials look like, and that this box and can create something like that all the way through. I've always been fascinated by that my entire life. And so I said, it's not super deep or anything like that, but it's just really cool to kind of see a transformation take place. And I don't know, that always just kind of scratched an itch for me.
So for anybody who likes to see those results, this is probably something that you'll enjoy. All right. Well, if no one else has a question, please know that if you would like to connect with our panelists, or if you would like to ask additional questions, you can always contact the Women's Center. We will definitely do our best to get your questions answered, and we'll get you connected with the person who can help you with that. And I just want to thank our panelists again. Man, you guys gave some great advice. I think that our students probably really benefited from hearing your perspective and hearing your experiences, and also just sharing with them what the journey can look like. And I want to thank Reagan again for being the inspiration for all of this. She probably had no idea that her story would inspire something like this. And so I really want to thank her, and then just thank our participants as well who came out to listen today. And so thank you guys. Thank you for making this possible. And hopefully we can get together and do something like this again soon.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.